Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business Live this Good Friday. Coming up, private schools are asking to be considered in government's coronavirus stimulus package. They say they will not be able to pay salaries. Cocoa Board indicates cocoa loan syndication may delay as the coronavirus pandemic hits the sector hard. And major oil producers agree a 10% cut in output to counter slump in demand caused by the coronavirus pandemic. We have analysis coming up. Welcome once again to Business Live, brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Details after this break. Welcome back. In our summaries tonight, banks and borrowers are beginning loan renegotiations in these times of the coronavirus pandemic, and the EU has agreed a €500 billion rescue package.
Following an official statement by the Ghana Association of Bankers on Monday that its members, comprising of all 23 universal banks licensed to operate in the country, are reducing their lending rate on both existing and imminent loans by 200 basis points, 2%, all the banks are already being inundated by enquiries from their indebted customers as to how this will work, coupled with requests for bilateral negotiations to restructure the outstanding loans. In particular, most customers are requesting for restructuring of loan repayment schedules. Forex traders who filed for dollars in Bank of Ghana's latest forex sales have been offered $25 million. Although BOG received biddings amounting to $78.75 million, it accepted 31.74% out of the total amount. In a report published by the central bank and controlling the supply of dollars, the BOG said a total of 108 bids were submitted in the latest forex auction, which was carried out on Tuesday, April 7, 2020. The National Communications Authority, NCA, has said it has taken measures to ensure that the public is protected from the effects of radiations. The NCA said as part of its consumer protection mandate, it has established a type approval laboratory with test and measurement equipment for radio frequencies RF, electromagnetic fields EMF, and specific absorption rate SAR. The NCA further stated that future 5G deployments in Ghana will also utilize some frequencies below 6 GHz, as well as higher frequencies and within safe limits. EU finance ministers have agreed a €500 billion rescue package for European countries hit hard by the coronavirus pandemic. The chairman of the Eurogroup, Mario Centeno, announced the deal, reached after marathon discussions in Brussels. It comes as Spain's prime minister said the country was close to passing the worst of its coronavirus outbreak. Spain has Europe's highest number of confirmed cases, with 152,446. More than 15,000 people have died. US stocks have just recorded their biggest weekly gain since 1974, despite the bleak economic outlook. Wall Street's S&P 500 shares index has risen 12% this week as the US Central Bank announced more stimulus measures to support the economy. Financial markets have experienced extreme volatility as the economic impact from the coronavirus worsens. Gold prices hit a 7-year high, with many investors still remaining cautious about the future of the global economy.
The Ghana National Association of Private Schools, NAPS, is calling on government to come to its aid and add it to the $1.2 billion stimulus package being given to businesses. This request, NAPS says, has become necessary as it is unable to pay salaries of over 20,000 teachers working with private schools. Even though government has approved for taxes, SNIT and other levies to be deferred for the next 3 months, NAPS alleges that some officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority are still demanding for payments to be made. Executive member of NAPS and director of Ambel School, Angela Latte, spoke to my colleague Northern Aboagye-Wiafe.
The National Association of Private Schools has become vulnerable because of the lockdown and challenges going on in the society, mainly because we are unable to pay our staff members. Some schools have not even paid for February, and others have not been able to pay for March since the close down of schools because we were taking on unawares. Actually, we were supposed to, on that particular day, on the 16th of March, that was the day we were going to sack for school fees because it was about 2 weeks to writing of end of term exam. So we just we were not informed that there was going to be a close down of schools. So that affected us a lot. So financially, we are suffering. And that has affected our staff members as well. And with this lockdown as well, partial lockdown, most people are not supposed to go out. So at least they should be able to have a little income to buy some foodstuffs to depend on at home. And this has become a challenge as well, because every day staff members call to ask whether they'll be receiving some monies, and they also talk about their challenges that they are also having at home, not being able to fend for themselves because of our inability to pay them.
You as an association, you are asking government to do what for you in particular, in terms of what you're talking about, salaries not being paid and all that. What exactly do you want the government to do?
Fine, it's not good to run an organization or a school on loans, you understand, but at least because of the challenges, the financial challenges we find ourselves in, we want to ask if there could be a package for private schools to support us during these trying moments in terms of financial support, yes. And also we have this crucial challenge when it comes to GRA and SNIT, Social Security. There's this penalty that we are supposed to pay if we are not able to pay our SNIT by the 14th of every month, and Social Security on the 14th of every month. It means the SNIT, you have to pay 3% of the amount that you are supposed to pay to SNIT as penalty, and it's accrued on daily basis. And with the GRA too, if you are not able to pay on the 14th, the penalty the next day is 500 cedis, and any other day after that is 10 cedis.
But I thought that, just before you go on, I thought that this particular issue with regards to GRA and SNIT, government has resolved it, because we saw a statement from the GRA that did indicate clearly that almost all businesses, including SMEs, and I'm pretty sure the schools should be part of it, that said for 3 months there's that laxity that GRA won't come after you to come and take their taxes. Likewise, SNIT as well. Are you saying that that's not the situation? Are they coming after you or something?
That is not the situation. One of our member schools went there this Monday, and they were demanding for their money. The person even went to plead with regards to difficulties in paying salaries, and they were saying that the government has not brought any letter to them, so it was new to them. So I don't know whether the information has not really been disseminated well. So I think there should be a follow-up from the governmental bodies as well, so that we will have a clear-cut information as in this is what is being done for us.
I see. Now, with the issue of salaries, you're not able to pay salaries. I saw in one of your statements that you wanted government to support you to pay these salaries. So that you want these monies for free or what?
No, as a loan facility, if we are able to get some incentive in terms of the loan that the government is talking about, if we get some loan, we'll be able to pay off our salaries and also other financial challenges and engagements that we have, we'll be able to sort it out.
All right, let's move forward now. OPEC producers and allies have agreed to cut output by around 10% to counter the slump in demand caused by coronavirus lockdowns. The group said it would cut output in May and June by 10 million barrels to help prop up prices. The cuts will then be eased gradually until April 2022. OPEC Plus, made up of OPEC producers and allies, including Russia, have bbeen holding talks, and we want to have a discussion around that. Joining me is an analyst with the Institute for Energy Security, Raymond Norport. Thanks very much for your time this Good Friday. And so a cut in production by 10%. Explain to us how this is helpful in propping prices.
Okay, thank you very much. As of yesterday, there have been a deal to cut oil production by 10 million barrels per day. However, there's an issue that must be addressed because Mexico is not willing to be part of the agreement. And per OPEC regulations, if one member is not willing to be part of the deal, then the deal will not be finalized. So that went on yesterday, and today at the G20 Ministers of Energy meeting in Riyadh, the president of Mexico indicated that Mexico is now coming to the table because America is willing to help them do the production cut. A few minutes ago, too, America also decided to join the cut by 5 million barrels per day. So if you add the two, that's something in the region of 15 million barrels per day for the next 2 months. Now, in the baseline is good because it's going to boost prices on the crude market, and it's also going to help pump up prices. So the idea is that this cut will ensure that prices are by $15 per barrel. So we are seeing something around 45 barrels per dollar at the end of the deal. However, we know that the market is so saturated, the glut in the system is so huge that the market may not react to the cut. Therefore, as you see today, this even went down from 33 to 31. The market is not reacting very well. But we are still expecting at the end of the G20 meeting, prices will start going up, starting from Monday, since Saturday and Sundays are not trading days.
And we are told that the cuts will be eased gradually until April 2022. And so what happens after April 2022?
So the idea is that if they are able to cut production by 15 million barrels per dollar, before it reaches 2022, prices will be able to come up to the level that the market will agree with. However, OPEC Plus is going to meet again in June 2020 to review the deal that they are currently signing on.
Okay. And so while we watch what is happening globally with OPEC Plus, sitting here in Ghana, right at home, people are watching. Why should we be concerned about all that is playing out?
So for a Ghanaian or government official, the idea is that at the beginning of the year, they're supposed to sell a barrel at $62. But because of the coronavirus and the supply glut, they're not selling it around 25, 26, 28. But with this production cut, prices are supposed to go up about 45. So that's a good news because we are going to get a marginal increase in our revenue. We're able to change our economic.
But that is only marginal. That is only marginal.
Yes, please. It's only marginal because the market is so saturated with supply.
Okay. Thanks very much for your analysis there. You heard Raymond Wokpo. He is an analyst with the Institute for Energy Security. And so from oil matters, let's turn to cocoa, which is also an important commodity for us. Cocoa Board says it is putting in place new structures as it anticipates a delay in the cocoa loan syndication. The cocoa sector is being hit by the coronavirus pandemic. Charles Aite has more.
Cocoa Board disclosed to Joy Business that the 2020 and 2021 syndication loan may delay to make room for new processes in acquiring the facility, all because of the closure of ports and banks over COVID-19. This, some stakeholders believe, may affect the syndication loan negatively. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Mr. Aboagye-Wiafe, who spoke to Joy Business, said new structures have been put in place, including online conference calls, to fast-track the acquisition of the facility.
Yeah, syndication loan processes, usually starts around February. And so this is a time when we should be doing syndication. Of course, because of the challenge, things are not normal. And because of the number of interactions has been stalled, but that doesn't mean that the windows are completely closed. As we speak, we are also doing a number of conference calls, and we've rescheduled some of the meetings because there should have been some meetings outside Ghana that because of the the COVID-19 challenge, we cannot travel. So we are doing conference calls, and then we are also rescheduling the program of syndication. Maybe the timing may delay, but again, it will not mean that we cannot have syndication at all.
Meanwhile, Cocoa Board has also established a risk assessment committee to study price trends, among other things, as the coronavirus pandemic causes havoc to commodity prices on the global market.
And if you could also help us with some details on the committee that you have established to risk assess the impact this could have on the component industry as well.
Well, as for the committee is a risk assessment, committee. The committee had been set up within the establishment to look at. These are, people with financial background to look at financial and economic risk.
The 2020-2021 loan facility is to raise cocoa yields per hectare and increase Ghana's overall production, which includes improving irrigation systems, rehabilitating aged and deceased infected farms. The fund will also help increase warehouse capacity and provide support to local cocoa processing companies.
Let's take you next to Kumasi, where tricycle operators say a government's directive compelling them to carry 1 instead of 3 passengers is taking a toll on their business. Government has had to enforce social distancing measures and a lockdown in some parts of the country to curb the spread of coronavirus. The tricycle operators are calling for support. Here's Prince Appear's report.
Here is the tricycle Aboagye station at Aboagye, until recently a buzzing setup. The rickshaws have become the most preferred means of transportation for traders and other residents of Asokore-Mampong municipality. It is the source of livelihood for most of the youth in this area. Said Alhaji Subaru is one of the operators.
I was unemployed when I completed my school, so in order not to sit idle, I decided to drive this to support myself and to support my family. When market is good, sometimes you can make 120 cedis in total a day. Use some to buy your fuel, and then use some to pay for the machine, and then use some for your upkeep.
We spoke with Subaru before the partial lockdown of Accra, Kumasi, Kaswa and Tema came into effect. Today, the station is dead. Said and his colleagues are frustrated.
We have wife and children. We are working this week and solve our problem. Now they have weak us to stop working. Even this morning I just wake up, the policeman has grabbed us away and just come and park the vehicle. Now, Ghana is hard. The work is arm to mouth. If you didn't go to work, how can you give your wife plus your children money to eat? Now they are breakers. You go to see our people are sitting down. No, we don't know how to do it.
So more than 20 of these tricycles, popularly known as Aboagye or Adedita, are seated here, idle, because they cannot work. It is because authorities have asked them not to operate. If they can, then only the driver and no passengers at the back. And that has not sat well with them. Asokore-Mampong Municipal Chief Executive Ali Duseidu emphasizes government's directive on passenger capacity of vehicles, especially the rickshaws, is to ensure social distancing.
Was considered as a motorbike. Now, once you cannot carry anybody apart from you, the rider, in natural sense, it means that they cannot also work. That is what it means. That there is a demand of the situation that now Aboagye cannot work again. So that is where we are now. We've communicated, saying the van is moving from one community to the other. We are targeting to go to every corner of the constituency or the municipality to spread that message.
Ali Duseidu pleads with both tricycle and patrons to adhere to the directive.
There is a limit to whatever we can do, but as we move along, whatever will come, we will bear with them to adhere. We will bear with them to take it in good faith. It is in our own interest. And
the riders say they will respect the directive, but they want government to assess them with their basic needs. For them, paying electricity bills when they are virtually locked down at home is a headache. They want government to give them relief.
And one is in a cardidity. Since you must enter fee, Yatana, say let me cry a bit your cry, Mamma bro, or the Damiana Mishano. So, since let be in your show, Kuno, sister say you do my Muslim MP. Yes, Rabban, one way. Now say, like being over boy a cry, now says a human over me, and I share Tamsi and Point.
Such is the situation of many persons in the informal sector, at least until the lockdown is over. Prince Apia reporting.
You're watching Business Live. Consolidated Bank Ghana has begun distribution of food items to selected communities affected by the lockdown. The 500,000 cedi fund for the purpose forms part of the bank's corporate social responsibility to reduce the burden of the vulnerable and disabled in these critical times. The distribution started from Adenta, Medina and to Ashaiman here in the Greater Accra region. Ebenezer Sabute has more in this report.
The food items which were purchased from the allocated 500,000 cedis fund is the first batch for the community project. Other areas in the Ashanti region affected by the lockdown are also expected to receive food products soon. Here is Head of Corporate Communications at Consolidated Bank Ghana, Anita Opon Amega.
To bring them food items, so we have rice, we have oil, we have sugar, we have gari, we have tuna flakes, some biscuits, just to support them within the period they stay at home. And so an amount of our 500,000 has been committed to support 6 communities within Accra and Kumasi. We are providing foodstuffs, we are providing vitamins and other things to help them to stay at home, to ensure they stay at home and to curb COVID. So life is restored. So for us as CBG, the board and management, this is the way they stand with our customers. So when we say we stand with Ghanaians, this is how we are able to do that.
Municipal Chief Executive of Adenta, Alex Nino Adumwa, expressed confidence that this gesture will go a long way to help in the enforcement of the lockdown.
But hunger is no respecter of persons. And under this lockdown situation, there are people who will be suffering. There is going to be hot food that will come to them. We have identified some 2,000, 3,000 people who will get hot cooked food. We also will be getting some dry food packaged from government. Some of it will go through faith-based organizations to be distributed to various homes where we know they are disadvantaged. Then they will be able to cook for their families so that people do not move out during this lockdown period. Government is doing all it can to ensure that we defeat COVID-19. It is devastating in certain other areas, but if we go ahead of it and we are all taking precautions and taking care of ourselves, then we'll be able to defeat.
The team moves next to the Medina and Ashaman areas to continue the exercise.
In other news, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee is worried that the Ghana National Gas Company has not been prompt in paying for natural gas supplied by the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC. According to the committee, the situation has denied the GNPC access to funds that could have been used for critical projects and operations. Speaking with Joy Business, Chairman of PIAC, Aboagye-Wiafe, said even though the matter has been raised in its semi-annual report for 2019, the committee is making efforts to get the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament to deal with the matter.
Ghana Gas receives volumes of gas from GNPC, and that's whatever it wants to do, and will not pay for it. And that is stifling arithmetic around the petroleum revenue, because when you don't do this, GNPC doesn't pay the money or load the money into the petroleum holding fund, for which reason PIAC is not also able to do a proper assessment of what accrues to the country. And also
the relevant authorities like the ministry.
In the first place, we have raised it with the sector agency that is in this business. Okay. That was like Ghana Gas. We have raised it. You know, our report goes to the presidency, goes to parliament, and is shared among the public and media, including you. So definitely we have said we have done that. Now Parliament sits on our report, and Parliament, I'm sure, which has been the case in the past, will act on our report by calling on all these agencies that we have, in quote, indicted for a meeting and discuss the situations around these behaviors. So we are clearly, as an accountability committee to the resource, we are not happy with receiving a resource, using it and not paying for.
And that ends our program tonight. There's more news as always on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Do enjoy your Good Friday.